did, and you heard Matt Cullen say it as well, for the first time, which is crazy to believe given Forge's success, they win on opening day. 2019, 1-1 draw against York. 2020, it was a 2-2 draw against Cavalry. Then they lost against Valor in 21, 2-0. Then they lost against Pacific 2-1 in 2022. And last year, 2-2 draw against Cavalry. So that's one check off the list of things that Forge hasn't accomplished.
It's nice for Bobby Simeoniotis in order to win on the opening day of the season, but he's more concerned about winning on the last day of the season. And the best part about this victory against Cavalry is how. The fact that they went down a goal and they come back from behind to beat them. Just like the Canadian Premier League final, by the way, down 1-0 in extra time, 2 goals, Borges and Batibanga. Borges and Batibanga do the job again here today. And for Cavalry, like last season, when they get a lead, they just never relinquished it. It only happened to them twice all season, taking the lead, then going on to lose. One was in a weird 3-2 to Valor, and the other one was in the Canadian Premier League final. So Forge gets the job done. Another gutsy effort here today. Cavalry maybe not at their best, but Forge showing that quality that makes them such a difficult team to beat in this league.
If you're a Forge fan, you're excited because you're seeing Tristan Borges. You're seeing glimpses of him looking like himself. Last season was a bit tough. There were many matches you could see on his face he was disappointed. He didn't look like he was enjoying his football. He wasn't playing that tiki-taka and getting on the ball and shots the way he liked. Today, assist, goal, looking like himself. Then you have the luxury of a Benny Batibanga to play with. It's a mouthful to say, but yes. Look, these are the guys going forward. They're going to be the ones to win the league for Forge if they're going to be that top team. But the way that they grew into this game, and they're usually a slow burn wheels in the beginning of the season. But if they can play like that, they'll be there.
Tristan Borges is our Gatorade performer of the match, and he's with our Christian Jack.
Another big moment for Tristan Borges inside this stadium. It's how it ended, 2-1 to Forge against Cavalry, then it's how it starts. Your thoughts about this match?
Yeah, it's going to be a long season. We know that. It's crazy how we haven't had a win at home in our first game in every season. So for us, it's just trying to start on the right foot. And it was a little tough getting behind already, but you know we already know what this team's about. It's always the same thing. We always go for the 3 points.
I want to ask you about your own individual performance shortly, but you mentioned it. You went from going behind again to winning a game. You did it in the final. In fact, you did it last year a lot, 17 points from losing positions. The standard answer might be you don't want to get there, but what is it about this team when the going gets tough?
I think it's just the trust within one another. I say it in a lot of the meetings that I have, but the group that we have is always special. The core that we have has been special since the first year. When you have a leader like Bex and you start with that, everybody believes in what football we can play, and it's always a confidence throughout the whole team. So we already know, even if we go down 1, it's never tough for us.
It looked like it was some things already special happening there down the left with Daniel and Benny and yourself today. Talk us through that a little bit, and also what did you remember about your goal?
Just a lot of movement. For me, it was just trying to stay patient throughout the whole game. We know they kind of like to be very aggressive on the ball, and for me, it was just trying my best to just stay patient and have that trust in that my teammates will find me. And you know, it happened, and for us, we're already focusing on the next game. So.
Last one for you. Everyone remembers how it finished last year, but you only started 11. I know you had a lot of problems fitness-wise. How are you feeling now?
I feel great. I'm ready for the year.
All right, congrats again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I would say he's ready for the year. It looks fantastic here today. And as we had mentioned, there were no goals in that first 45. I don't know what it was, if the two teams, if they know each other so well, and it was like they were just playing this game of chess. Nobody was breaking. Forge was trying. Cavalry was playing well defensively. And then it was Cavalry. He does end up striking in the 60th minute. Sergio Camargo, who got his 100th appearance for Cavalry today, he joins the Centurion Club, opens up the scoring. That had to feel good for him.
Absolutely. Andy Petrilli makes this look easy. This is not an easy execution, Wheels. This little header right here, just to duck your head, but then also flick and get that power on it to go back post. I mean, we've been arguing in the studio, but very, very gently, like family do. I just feel like for Forge, someone needs to get in front of Camargo. But you almost think in this situation, Wheels, that he's not dangerous. There's no way that he could flick the ball on and head it. One, because of his stature, no shade, but just a fact. And then also what it takes to actually get it back post. But he does brilliantly here.
It looks like he's coming from off the field to play.
Yeah, he is off.
I mean,
when the ball struck, he's off.
I'm not sure about that, but the technique was sublime. It's going to be unfair all season long. Whenever a goal like that is scored, well, could have Kalongo done better?
Yeah.
Would have Tristan Henry saved it? Perhaps a little bit better, but I'm going to give Camargo full marks. Like the technique on that finish, if there was a player in the far post, I don't think they could have come over. It's a sensational header and a great start to the season from Sergio Camargo, a player who stayed healthy last season, played his best football. I thought he was excellent over the course of his play today.
Colongo did end up shutting the door after that. His teammates were able to get this one back for him, and we just saw it was Tristan Borges who leveled this one. That was 10 minutes later, 70th minute, making it 1-1.
It's gorgeous.
Wondering when
Borges was
that.
a beast in this one. I mean, Jordan said it. You heard in the interview with KJ. Borges scored only 2 goals last season, one in the regular season and the Olympico in the Canadian Premier League final. This ball cannot go into the back of the net. What you see on both goals, and you'll see it here, look at how many defenders are between the ball and Marco Carducci. They're almost too deep. I'm not sure if they're blocking the goalkeeper. Like, Carducci has to make that save. I think if he stays up, he can just use his foot to keep it out. I think the goalkeeping could have been better on that one. But the players are dropping far too deep. There needs to be more on the ball. You need to step to it. If not, you're just in the way of the goalkeeper's vision. Full credit to Borges. He got to the ball first, created some space, turned and fired. It's really well done by Tristan Borges. But just the shape and the way that Cavalry's defenders kept on dropping, I think it's a little bit problematic.
No, couldn't agree with you more, Wheels. And just 2 other things to point out with Cobbs as well. When you're defending in the box, as a defender, if it goes through your legs, you're killing your keeper. Granted, this is not something he wanted to do. He wasn't doing the splits. It does happen, but you almost think, shoot around me. Because as soon as it goes through your legs, it is impossible for a keeper to get down and react. And you see a Carducci, he's obviously going to feel like, oh, I could have saved that, but I don't think he sees it.
No.
I think it's so quick. The shot is so low. It goes through Cobbs' legs. The time for him to react is near impossible.
Well, and this is something a defender never wants to happen either, is be the reason why the goal finds the back of your net. Yes. And as we bring you the Volkswagen moment of the match, it's the game winner for Forge. This was 6 minutes later. Baribanga gets it, but it's off Klump's head.
But this is Borges. Look at this. He starts limping. Just keep an eye on the right side of your screen, like limping. Oh, I'm just going to take this space right here. Finds himself in the pocket. Then all of a sudden, Cavalry's in trouble. The ball played into the middle. Baribanga's going to get there. Look at this run across as we play this through. Boom. Off the head of Dan Klopp. Once again, the defenders far too deep in this moment. Good overlap, comes around, but no defender engaging. Instead, more traffic for Carducci to deal with.
No, Wheels, look, this is the position that you or myself, that defensive midfielder, has to take at this point. Everyone's back, but being back doesn't mean you're in the right position. Yep. Someone needs to be in that space. We highlighted it and we paused it because that area, Charlie Trafford would probably pick up, but then new players came on. This is their time to be like, I have to be the new Charlie Trafford. I have to be the defensive midfield. Really finish that triangle. You have the Montgomerys behind you defending, but someone needs to engage. Great movement and great little interplay between Baribanga and Borges, but that area is far too free.
Yeah, KJ said it. I mean, Para, Borges, Baribanga, they're going to be problematic for sides coming down that left-hand side. Just all technically very, very good. But the defending, good teachable moment for Tommy Wheeldon Jr. You need to engage. You cannot defend passively in a situation like that.
It's opening weekend of the CPL. 3 games today, 1 tomorrow. And then as the season progresses, we're going to have very busy weekends, which means every Sunday.
Match night!
Oh, no.
It's a match night! Match night!
CPL match night. I'm going to say it like a normal human being. So every Sunday, following the final game of the weekend, CPL match night right here on One Soccer, breaking down the highlights, the goals, the storylines, all on CPL.
Match night. Did you say match night?
Yes, I did. Forge, for the first time in their club history, pick up a win on opening day, 2-1 over Cavalry. We're going to check in with Christian Jack when we return. It's the CPL on One Soccer.
Allstate and its 900 agents proudly support Canadian soccer at every level. Visit allstate.ca.
CIBC is a proud partner of the Canadian Premier League.
Would you like the extended warranty? warranty for $150.
Go ad-free for $29.99.
Only 3 easy payments of $49.99 if you act now.
We make thousands of financial decisions every day. Each one affects bigger decisions tomorrow. Stay on top of it all with the CIBC Smart Account.
Tony Bet. At Tony Bet, get treated like a VIP. Bet on live games with odds on all sorts of sports. That's what you get when you bet with Tony Bet.
Full-time stats, Forge, Cavalry, the two teams that met in the final last year, opened things up for them this year in the season, and Forge walks away with the victory just like they did in that final. Almost a carbon copy. The two goal scorers for Forge last year scored in the opener here. Moosey, who got the goal for Cavalry last year, was the one who took the corner where Sergio Camargo scored the goal. So Forge walking away victorious. They're hosting out in Hamilton. That's where Christian Jack is. And you know, this is the second now of a triple header we have today, KJ. First game, Atletico Ottawa, York United, and already the first two games are proving no lead is safe.
Yeah, it's amazing how it carries on the trend from last year, right? Obviously, Forge came from behind in the final. That, by the way, last season was the 60th lead relinquished by a team, and we've had it again here today. We've already had it in Ottawa, and we've had it now here in Hamilton. It just goes to show you what the Canadian Premier League is like. You know, a lot around the world, there was talk about how difficult it is to get victories, even draws from positions when you're losing. But again, we saw tonight, and obviously that Hamilton, that Forge can come away and do that. I have to say that I thought Cavalry were fantastic for a large parts of the game, but this team knows how to find another gear, and Forge found it again to send Cavalry back to Calgary with nothing on the board so far.
Yeah, Cavalry scores first, but they lose this one earlier. York scored first. Atletico Ottawa walked away with the victory. If you're Bobby, I'm thinking there's a lot that you're happy with today, right?
Yeah, I just saw him actually. He had a little bit of a collective sigh of relief. I don't think he was overly delighted with the performance. But there's a lot of things to like. First of all, I think Benny Badibanga, we have to say, he's got to be one of the big favorites to win the Player of the Year. For me, he has the switch when he could just go into another level technically, mentally. I love how he can just fall out of games for 5 minutes and then not worry about it and get back in. So we all know the excitement that he can. Borges, we spoke to him after the match, looks like a different player. Para looks to settle in very well, the technical quality of those players on the left-hand side. And Malik Owolabi-Bellewu, let's finish off the trend of left-footers, at a marvelous game again, carrying on where he played for Forge in CONCACAF against Chivas.
If you're Tommy, how are you feeling?
Yeah, it's a strange one. I mean, they look very, frustrated again. It's been a difficult time for them here today. There was a delayed kickoff start here because Forge had to show a video montage celebrating what happened 168 days ago, and the Cavalry players had to stand and watch that. And I'm sure that when they scored the first goal and Camargo started to celebrate in front of the Hamilton fans, maybe they thought they could put that past them. But the conversation will carry on, won't it, in terms of they can't get over their hump against Forge. So, look, what will he be happy with? I thought Tobias Wojciechowski was a real rare light. He looks like a player that, he runs on the field as if he's mad at the ground. He's got that great kind of ability to bring real energy into the game. So I think they'll be very happy with that. Defensively, I thought Callum Montgomery had a really good game. They'll be disappointed in the manner in which they gave away the 2 goals, but I still think this team is very, very strong and can certainly contend for trophies come October.
Yes, Forge just had to show that video recapping the final last year while Cavalry was on the pitch. KJ, great stuff. KJ out in Hamilton, Ontario, Tim Hortons Field, where Forge picks up the 2-1 win here today. Bobby Smirniotis and company have to feel good about that. Their first opening day win in history. Let's see what they can do the rest of the season, because once again, they are the team that other teams continue to chase. You continue to watch CPL presented by CIBC on One Soccer.
Power doesn't sound like it used to. The all-electric ID4 with instant acceleration. Electric feels good.
Volkswagen.
72-hour non-stop protection. Antiperspirant with motion sense. Tested to the limit. Degree. Keeps working when others stop.
These days at your local Legion, we're marching to the beat of a different drum. On a mission to support veterans, to have fun, and to welcome everyone to our ranks. You don't have to be a veteran to join the Legion. And as a member, you'll join thousands of others serving our veterans, our communities, and our country. Oh yeah, and our Member Perks program will save you thousands on shopping, dining, products, and services across the country. Join us at legion.ca.
TELUS Canadian Championship begins on April 23rd. 14 teams will look to be the last one standing and hoist the Voyageurs Cup. All the matches can be seen live right here on One Soccer. Andy, Wheels, Jordan with you. Forge beating Cavalry 2-1 in the opener. 6th season of the CPL. Hot take. Cavalry can't beat Forge?
That's scorching. I'm not buying it. Let's put that fire out right now. Look, was this a perfect performance? Nowhere near from Cavalry, but I think there's a lot to build off of. They are deeper. I think Tommy will nitpick a little bit about the defending on the goals, but more so, this team was built, especially the way they were lined up today, to bring on attacking talent, to make a difference near the end of games. I just don't think they're quite clinical enough. Give Forge full credit the way they defended. He'll expect more from the attacking players he has coming off the bench. Again, losing Bevan is going to be a factor because the profiles of attacking players are a little bit different.
Yeah, when I think about Forge as well, you think about Oalabi Belleru, who, when he came into this league a couple years ago, you could see the talent. You could see that he needed some time, right? And then I'm looking at this big boy performance today, and I'm thinking about Matusla as well, how he performed in the CONCACAF Champions League. And this is what Bobby Smirniotis, but also what the league brings, is that you get continued football. You get to be the best version of yourself. And I think with this Forge side as well, when you're getting players like a Benny Betabanga and you're getting a Borges, they're going to live and die with those guys. Those are going to be the guys that either win them a shield or a cup or lose them. They've prided themselves on those type of players, and they showed up in moments today. But if they can show up more, this is a top team.
Just the latest. They lose Edgar, Crutzen, Mandrakar James. They have Olawabi Bellewu. Matusla didn't play today. You know, they lose top players. They bring in players like Cisse. He didn't go today. Lose Tristan Henry. I thought Kalongo played really well today. Looks very much the part. They're fluid. They've turned over so nicely, Forge. And if anyone was expecting that dip, think twice. They're going to be a top side again this year.
So first game looked good for them. If you're Tommy Wheeldon Jr. and you're looking at your team, again, where you're implementing some new players as well, maybe what are some of the things that you're focusing on after game one?
Yeah, I think, honestly, when you look at Worcheski, you're thinking this is a good performance and it's solid, but I just think there was a switch when certain players came off, when the Traffords came off, or even when we broke down the second goal. I think everyone just needs to lock in. Now, I'm not expecting that in game one. For me, even the last season I played, game three, I felt like my best self. Because you still need to get into the rhythm of matches. You still need to really implement what your coach wants to do. But that's for them to win the Shield and to win the Cup, is for everyone to lock in. Your 17th, 18th guy should be just as prime and ready as the number one guy on the roster.
Yeah. Minor setback. This team was the best team at home in the Canadian Premier League last season, and by some margin as well. So, look, their expectation is to go out and win this league again. That is the priority, stated priority for Wheeldon and company. He has the team to do it. There'll be better days.
Look, I'll say it quickly. I think there's pressure on them as well. Not pressure in terms of
internal.
Yeah. Like, you've done that well, and your team is better. I don't care what anyone tells me. Their team is better. And 13 points. We were dubbing, Wheels was dubbing early Cavalry as a top team last season, and they got to the last dance and just missed it. Really, they have to do that and more this season. That's the expectation for them.
Yeah, it was an exceptional final, and it was a great year for both these teams, which is why, because Cavalry won the regular season and Forge won the league, they were granted qualification into CONCACAF Champions Cup. I had a sit down with the commissioner of the CPL, Mark Noonan, before the start of the season, and we talked about those two teams being in that prestigious competition. Let's talk about competitions, and that, of course, would be CONCACAF Champions Cup, and we did see two CPL teams compete in that, Cavalry and Forge. What is it going to take for the CPL to really close that gap between itself and other MLS clubs, top-notch Liga MX, as we know, clubs, but also being a part of those types of competitions and getting that exposure and recognition? But where do you think it needs to go to really have CPL close that gap?
It's just going to take some time. It's just going to, that's all it is. And if you look at the history of that competition, it's been dominated by Liga MX, the oldest, biggest, largest soccer country within CONCACAF. And it took, I don't know, 25 years for MLS to actually win it. And you know, we're a 5-year-old league, and we are in the process of getting to that level, and that's what we aspire to. And that's the beauty of a competition like this, because it's a measuring stick. You know, to see a 17-year-old Kevin Tavernier go down to one of the cathedrals of the sport in Guadalajara and score a great goal, or the great goal that was scored up here in Forge, or what Cavalry did in Orlando. I mean, it's a great measuring stick for us. It's, you know, and it just shows us where we need to go. So, you know, we're not satisfied, but I think we represented ourselves on and off the field really well in that competition, and raised the awareness of the quality that's going to start coming out of Canada.
Would you like the extended warranty for $150?
Go ad-free for $29.99.
Only 3 easy payments of $49.99 if you act now.
We make thousands of financial decisions every day. Each one affects bigger decisions tomorrow. Stay on top of it all with the CIBC Smart Account.